If we got to the 10%, our housing of the shy list, which 40Bs wouldn't be allowed here anymore. So that's a really good thing. However, it doesn't solve our housing problem. Not that it will ever be solved, but it doesn't really lessen it. P-Town is at their 10%.
Got it.
Right? And they have huge housing issues still. So I know this is crazy, isn't it? You just drive by one day and then it's just a chimney.
I mean, it is. That's why I wanted people to see it, because at least we have some sort of video record of this area of what's going on. I guess the plan is to this is going to be more apartments or single family homes?
So I can tell you we've been in executive session for a while, going back and forth with Richmond in the very, very last negotiations. They needed some takings that the town had to go in and do some takings and then kind of get back to them, and all through land court. It's complicated.
Sure.
So they could do their developments. Once this gets done, they're going to go forward with building, I think, 225 apartment buildings and I think 60 or 80 homes.
225. Is this considered No, does this include, is that an apartment building, or are they each one an apartment?
Yeah, these are apartments. These are rentals.
So there's 10 apartmts maybe in each one, or 12 or 14 or whatever.
Something like that. Yeah,
so there'll be 220 more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So
when it first came online, the landscaping around here I was not happy with it.
Yeah.
It was really bad.
Right.
And I thought, for your very first one, let's make this look nice.
Yes, exactly.
And but yeah, 225 rentals coming online, and all of those go to the shy list.
Okay.
All of it. And that gets us, if that comes on, as soon as they apply for it.
Yeah.
So that puts us in safe harbor, and it goes to the shy list.
Got it.
And but we also want them to be built as well, not just on the shy list.
Yep. Right.
So they get built.
And that gets us closer to that 10%.
Oh yeah.
Like almost there, or
I think I don't quote me on this, but I think it's jumps us from 2.8% up to 7. And then if Tacoma Green was online with those 64 units, all of those go on the shy list.
Okay.
Now we're in 9%. So the idea behind this $30 million that Tobias and Mr. Atherton are looking at is, if we get that 9%, we're almost there. So let's take this $30 million and buy homes, get them on the shy list, and get to our 10% and stop the 40Bs.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be 30 million. It could be just half that, or whatever.
Something I always love to try to explain to people. Yeah. When we borrow, let's say we borrow $1 million to do sidewalks, or we authorize at a town meeting, it's not all going to be used.
Right.
So the finance director only borrows as he needs it, as he goes along. So we could authorize $30 million, but we wouldn't use it.
Well, see, that's for 10 years. Okay, gotcha.
You use it as you need it.
I see.
You don't borrow the whole thing and then pay on it and not use it.
Right. Well, people see a $30 million figure and they're going to say, too much money, right off the bat. So does it make sometimes sense to say a smaller amount and work with what you have and come back and ask for more if you need it? Okay. I just wanted to bring this up while we're on this road.
Yeah.
I don't know why we keep doing this to ourselves, but I think people think this as well, from what I've heard, is that we're building all these places without fixing the road up first until we see how much traffic. It's almost like we're putting the cart before the horse without fixing this, getting this road ready for the amount of traffic that's going to be on it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been a very huge advocate to fixing this road.
What is holding us back, Jason?
I think it's fear of growth. I think it's the fear of, that there's going to be an extra lane here, or you're going to put a roundabout at Fairgrounds in Old South, and it's going to allow more cars.
But there's nothing. We've already got the buildings going in.
Right, 300 buildings, 300 homes are going to go going in there. Right. And so I want to be more proactive and try to get a roundabout right here at Fairgrounds.
Yes.
We have the room. We don't have to do huge takings. We own all this land right here. Right. We could have 2 lanes. So if you want to go towards the Rotary, you stay in that lane. If you want to take a left, you cruise right around. It's also safer. Everybody thinks that this is just pro cars, pro vehicles. It's got to be safer for pedestrians and bikes.
Of course.
And
you're a big guy. I am too.
Every intersection improvement we do, the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, I look at it. Matt Fee's really big on trying to make it more bicycle and pedestrian driven, versus just doing everything to allow more cars to move around. Okay. It will make cars more efficient. just moving through.
Right.
And the way roundabouts work is that traffic keeps moving, but it goes through slower, and there's only one way to go, so there's less accidents. It's easier for bikes and pedestrians to walk across, even though it looks like chaos.
Yes.
You say rotary or roundabout, people think Cape Cod. You know, the one in Hyannis, right? That crazy one.
Yeah.
It's more going to be like similar to the one by the post office.
Right.
You know,
Right. No. This is no problem.
And it, you know,
We need them. We need it.
we didn't get to talk about it at town meeting because we didn't have a quorum.
Oh,
And I think
God, that's another issue we're going to have to bring up.
if we would have talked about it, I think we would have got more of the 60 votes that it didn't pass at the ballot. I mean, it barely didn't make it. It wasn't like it was 90-10.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
52-48.
Interesting.
Thousands of votes, and it lost by 60.
Amazing.
And
Well, let's just go into that real quickly. I mean, people are not showing up to town meeting. I mean, that
not the special town meeting, no.
No. Well, how do you feel about the situation? You know, should we change our form of government?
Yes.
We should.
Yes, and here's the bigger picture why. I was in a meeting with town manager and our town council was there, and we were going through all this kind of really intricate, like back and forth stuff. And everybody got up, we were leaving, and I looked at town council and I said, "Are we crazy here? Is this the craziest us versus us town that you've ever seen?" And this is John Giorgio, who's worked with municipalities for 30 years, and he said, "No, you're very similar to every small town. You have, really, really contentious issues." But he said, "What's different here is your issues are the most complex that I've ever seen."
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at here is our issues are so complex. We have city problems, and we have a small town, 5 volunteers, select board who are doing their best for policy. We have this tiny, tiny government, and we're all volunteers. And I think everybody does a great job for what we have. But something needs to change. The first step would be representative form of government. Or representative form of town meeting, sorry.
Okay.
That's the first step, but I don't think that goes far enough.
For people who don't understand what that would mean, how would the selectmen change?
Well, in that, the selectmen wouldn't change in that. That's why I don't think it goes far enough. But you would have, the state kind of dictates it for where the census is. So Matticat would have 25 representatives, and Tom Evers would have 15, and Mid-Iowa would have 50. And you have 150 representatives, and they go and they vote at town meeting. Okay. Now, you and I can still go.
Got it.
And we can still say, here's my issue, here's why we think we should do this.
Right.
And then we take a vote, but only those 150 vote.
Do towns like ours that are growing, progressive, is that the next step usually? Or because we could have a city government too. We could change it to a city form of government where we have a mayor.
If the census goes over 1,200, then we could. Right now, we couldn't have a mayoral form of government. You have to have a census.
What do you mean 1,200?
I'm sorry. Did I say 1,000?
You did.
10,000.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, 10,000 and 12,000.
Got it. 12,000.
So we have.
Got it.
Yeah, you need 12,000 on the census.
We're getting close. I don't think it's.
I think we will this next 2020 when we get the next census.
So.
Yeah. So if it was up to me, I would, and how we got there, we could take a long, long time to do this. I would have a form of government like Cambridge, and I'll explain why. Cambridge has, I think, 7 city council that everybody elects, and whoever that city council elects chair becomes the mayor. That's what they call it, the mayor. And I don't know if that's for 1 or 2 years. And then they elect a city manager, and then there's no town meeting.
Got it.
And I know the diehards and people who've been at town meeting forever would not go for that. I think the reason we should do that is because I spend 20 to 30 hours a week as a volunteer trying to figure this out, and I should be spending 50. All of us should.
Got it.
So the only way to get that is to get retired, people who are retired, to be able to spend enough time that you really need to read all these documents, to have the conversation.
And then we come back to the fact that so few people are actually participating at town meeting. That in itself is just blows my mind. That the people that are retired, mostly retired folks. The young people are just not.
I tried for a decade, to get people in their 30s and 40s to go to town
Yeah,
meeting.
no.
People who own land or own a business, they don't
Right.
go. They either just they make an excuse. Some of it, a little bit of it's apathy, but some of it is also, I haven't followed the issues all year. I don't feel like I can make a really good informed vote.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to argue that. Like,
No. Exactly. Well, we're growing. The population is not going to go down, and if we had a building cap, if we had tried to put a building cap and kept it going, do you think it would have made a difference?
when the building
Now,
cap.
right now, let's say there was a building cap right now, and we slowed it down.
I think
Would it have made a difference?
to do a building cap, it has to connect to something. It has to connect to a wastewater problem or a water quality issue.
Can't be growth or traffic.
No, I don't think so. I think it's got to be connected to, and it has to have a time limit. Like, okay, we're doing a building cap because we can't handle the sewers can't handle it. So we're going 5 years to build it up, and then you would get out of that. It's got to, it just can't be, because we don't want certain people to come here anymore. Unfortunately.